Alright, what's up guys? Fake truth. That's who I am. I mean, that's what I'm going by here at least. Oh man, I can't have the monitoring. It drives your brain crazy. Cause with all these effects and everything, it's the audio is extremely latent, and it drives you crazy if you try to listen to it, as you're actually talking. Makes it so you can't actually talk, which is it's a strange experience. You should all try it sometime. What's going on? What just happened? We just it's the new day, right? We got Saturday. It is January 19th, right? Just happened. Just getting started. Going into the weekend, whatever that means to you, doesn't mean a whole lot to me. The days all sort of blend together. And life in the gig economy, there is no weekend. That's just kind of how it is. Still working on the setup. Still working on the setup. It's pretty complicated, but I'm pretty sure we got audio going through now. And I'm just gonna double check because I've tried this a couple times now, and to less than ideal results. So I just want to see if we're getting any audio through. Let's just pull up the channel here. All right, nice. All right, we are in business. What is up, YouTube? Hoping to do this every night, right? Because there's always something going on. There's a sea of information just being thrown at everybody from every angle, and I don't even know myself how to sift through it. So I feel like it's going to be helpful for me too to just take a look at this stuff and try to move through it. Try to move through it and set the mood as well. Is that only... So this is interesting. I was just flipping through what's going on in the news. I'm mostly just interested in the headlines to see what the main narrative that's getting pushed is, and just have a couple different papers pulled up here from different sides of the angle. What's the other one I want to look at is just Google News. Excuse me. Right, because this is another good spot to check in on, because they really tell you the narrative. They're pretty upfront about what you should be thinking at this very moment. And I'm just gonna, I'm just trying to track it for myself to see day in, day out. What is the message? What is the message that's going out? What is the thing that everybody's they want everybody to believe? What is that thing? Because there usually is sort of a unified front, and yeah, if you look at a couple different publications, you can sort of start to see that. That's another very interesting story about this pop singer with Elon Musk, and she's all mega occult and has all this weird music that's ultra occult, and he's obviously in this whole big weird club too, because otherwise he wouldn't be on the front. But anyways, yeah, no, I want to check this out first because this looks interesting. Surprise discovery of ancient crustaceans in a tardigrade emerged from a rare mission to drill into a lake sealed off by a kilometer of ice. So there's been a lot. I mean, there's a lot of in the truther community and conspiracy culture. There's been a lot about Antarctica, obviously. I mean, we all. If you've gone anywhere down this rabbit hole, you've kind of crossed Antarctica and the whole Thule Society, aliens, and Hollow Earth, and just stuff coming out of the Antarctica. I mean, I don't have anything pulled up right now, but it's interesting then to see it in the mainstream news too, right? Because it does come up every once in a while. There's been a lot of celebrities and dignitaries and important people that go down to Antarctica to see what's going on. There was that big story. I was trying to cover that too with who's that guy? The guy that walked across it supposedly alone in 80 days, and he took all these pictures from it, and had an Instagram account the whole time and was posting the whole time. But apparently, it's completely off limits. Like, how was he even getting service? That was my question. Like, who's that guy? Let's just pull it up real quick. What's it? Antarctica solo track. Yeah, Colin O'Brady. That was the guy. Right? And this is, it was really interesting. He went all the way to the South Pole and then went across. I guess that's what constitutes crossing the Antarctica. And he went all the way, and he had an Instagram account the whole time. He was just taking pictures. And I don't know. I guess, yeah, maybe like a sat phone or something. Anyways, we get back to this Nature article, though, right? See, that's the trouble with modern society, though. Anytime you try to, like, really lay through a thread, especially if you're just trying to do it in the moment, there's just so much, like, distracting nonsense that's going on in the world at all times. And it makes it really hard to finish a thought, even, right? Because even now I got all these tabs open. There's all these different things pulling you in different directions. Like, right, maybe we should check this article out. Maybe this is what is worth talking about. Oh, this whole government shutdown is so boring to me and lame. I don't know. Just the whole Trump thing is right, and I really don't want to have Anderson Cooper talk at me in any meaningful way. Now and again, it's good to study this stuff to see what they're trying to get you to think. But CNN is pretty brutally upfront about it. It's sort of disgusting, right? So that's my point. Let's get into a little bit of this. And they're saying that there's a bunch of crustaceans that live down there. Discovering animals there is fully unprecedented, and they always act like it's some big surprise, like they've never seen this. They could never imagine anything like this ever happening, and then they find it, and so that's the question, like, especially in nature, because I want to believe science, especially when I was younger, like, science, it was infallible, they do the science and that's what's up, but yeah, you also gotta realize a lot of it is conjecture and guesswork, and I feel like people used to be okay with that, but now that everything is so like agenda driven and hardline that even science has to be agenda driven and have a narrative and a purpose, which is it's annoying. It's just hard to just straight up live and enjoy stuff because everything has to have a purpose and a narrative and all that. I think it's like sneak climate change in here someplace. And this would be interesting to read. I would probably, suggest it, but there's just so much to cover, so much to get through. It's hard to know what to focus on. Right, but this is interesting. They went down this hole and get some of this video. I go full screen. Right, so I guess they went down this hole super deep, and they found all this stuff down in the ice, which is, it is quite amazing. But they all figured, we all figured that was the case, basically. That's what keeps coming clear. Oh, check that out, actually. Life is insanely tolerant, it can be in a bunch of different places at a bunch of different times in a bunch of different ways, and it doesn't, seem to have any lack of resourcefulness, so finding some crazy bugs at the bottom of Antarctica doesn't seem that crazy, basically. And I guess maybe the point would be that, right, because there has been a lot of alien stuff in the news, a lot of I don't know, just stuff about aliens and whether they're coming, Muamua, and I don't know. I was just watching the Bob Lazar interview movie thing. This was pretty good. And I don't know, there's just been a lot of this stuff in the news and in conspiracy culture. Obviously, they're always talking about aliens, but there's been a lot of higher level leaks and sort of sightings and other weird stuff. What is it? Anonymous official. They're like pushing that all the time. It's like every single video that they have is about aliens, and I've been watching some of these, and that's all they basically have been talking about. That like it's both of these things. The ancient cultures having alien crazy technology, and also aliens coming possibly, from some other galaxy to come visit us. So, I mean, I don't know if disclosure's ever coming. I honestly don't, but it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, and there has been a sort of ramp up to it. And that's the only thing I can think of here is that if they're proving that you have crazy life at the bottom of Antarctic lakes with no sunlight for billions of years, that's no problem, then what's to stop it from being on Mars or some other, all those awesome moons and everything. There's just so many places where life could be, right? If it's here at the bottom of the lake thing or whatever. So anyways, that's enough time on that. I mean, you could get into the Trump stuff. I don't know, it's just so boring to me, and it's so obviously fake. This is the fake truth right here. I mean, this is all stuff that's happening. Cohen and getting Trump to lie to Congress, and right, and he said and she said, and there's just a bunch of that back and forth and stuff on Twitter, right? Yesterday it was with Pelosi and the battle with her. The main topic, just in general, every day it seems, is the government is at a deadlock. It's falling apart. It's shut down. Has no signs of ever really opening again. You got Cardi B yelling at Trump and going viral. All these other sort of element, it's just because that's the point. Tons of elements have to come out of many different angles, for many different demographics, for these narratives to hit. So you have to spread the message far and wide, basically, through all sorts of different media. So that's why it's obvious that there's stuff here on YouTube in the truther community that's totally fake and agenda driven or COINTELPRO or whatever, and it's really hard to tell exactly what and where that is. Maybe Anonymous is a big one of those. It's hard to say. I mean, I would look at the channels that have sort of bigger budgets where they have higher production values, and that's what seems to. I don't know, if you have a big team working behind you and everything's getting you actually ad revenue, then that's just, I don't know, it's something right there. So I don't know, I sift through a lot of material, and it really does get hard to tell what's real and what's fake, but the search is worth it, I think. At least that's my thought. But that's just one aspect. I wanted to get into the other aspect of stuff that I want to talk about, because that's all stuff that I'm finding on the internet. You can read till you're blue in the face, but obviously there's real stuff on the internet. There's a lot of good research and stuff, but that's the point. You're reading it on the internet. It's really hard to know whether it's real or not. It's hard to know, and especially if I show you anything, whether I doctored it or not. But all I can know is that I didn't, basically, and that this is going to be raw footage that I'm showing you of observations that I make. And I'll try to do them as a high level as I can to get a good result. And I've been experimenting with a bunch of different techniques, just to try to make different observations about the Earth and what's going on in it. And so this is when I definitely wanted to show you guys. I have a bunch of stuff here, just getting ready to get analyzed and stuff. But this is when I put my GoPro out for like 3 days. What's the number on this? This is December 27th to the 30th. I could probably just like release this, just the whole video, because it's interesting to watch. And I sped it up a whole bunch, but it's still a couple minutes for these 3 days, and most of it is definitely darkness. You can kind of skip through some of that, but I think it's totally fascinating to see the moon rise like this. right? And then you are going to get a bunch of nighttime, but then then the moon rises again, and I like to be able I like being able to just sort of scrub through multiple days and take a look at and compare between the different days, just what it's looking like out there, what the sunrise is like. It's been raining, so like totally crazy these last couple days, at least by LA standards, and yeah, so that hasn't really been possible because I got to keep the GoPro attached to electricity. But yeah, so this is from many weeks ago at this point, but it's still really interesting, I think, to see the moon, whatever planet that is that's following that the GoPro is actually picking up at nighttime. It really isn't very good at low light. But right, interesting to notice these colors. And, I'm not trying to make any sort of, like, clarifications or decisions right now, like, oh, there's Nibiru, there's the lens flare, you see it right there. I'm just trying to make different observations from a bunch of different angles. Right, and it's interesting just to look at the light and how it changes over time. And I'm mostly interested in the sunrises and sunsets and the journey of the moon, because that's I don't know if you guys have checked out Crow 777 or anything moon related. Who else is I was just watching some Bruce Seasall. That guy's awesome too. Bunch of good channels out here on YouTube too. But yeah, like I was saying, he makes a ton of moon observations. He's saying that the sun is definitely the thing to watch these days. So I'm trying to check that out as well. Right, but it's also obviously, this is just the raw footage, and it's interesting to see the color and sort of compare, that's the dawn compared to the next dawn. The moon comes up. It's very similar, and they weren't spraying really at all these couple days. This was over the holidays, obviously, so it was very clean. You see these jets come by, but no trails that stick. Right? It was a beautiful couple days here. Although, yeah, spoke too soon. That's when they started spraying on this day, right? And you notice it's beautifully clear. This is like coming out of the holidays, and you notice this color that it has, the sky, and as it goes through, and the nano haze comes in, we get into it gets dark again, but you can already notice that it's been sort of filled up with these streaks, and I'm going to just let this play a little bit. Right. And obviously it's an endless raging discussion about what's going on in the sky, and it's like I almost don't want to get into it. But I do want to just take a look and see what's going on up there, and I definitely noticed the difference between jets like on this, at the beginning of the day. I mean, this is really sped up too fast to see. So that's why I'm trying to do a different frame rates. This was at a completely insane, time-lapse thing, just to get as maximum time on there as I could. But I've also been trying to do it at ultra-high frame rate too. It's not a very good resolution, but if it does catch something interesting, then you can slow it down like crazy and see what's going on. I definitely want to study some of the jets that way too. But it's interesting just, to see the change in the sky just in these couple days. And there's the sunrises seem pretty uniform, I'd say. But it's interesting to see this color. And, I'm in a little bit of a valley here, so it's hard to tell exactly light sourcing. This isn't a direct observation of the sunrise. But you can see how the light gets started. And how it's sort of this grayish color before. Yeah, but again, this is, pretty standard days. Pretty standard days. And stuff like that. I got this other one I got to put together. I'm just trying to get some moon footage, and this is with the GoPro at that high frame rate. And I just want to check, did I change the speed right so you can slow this way down to the actual normal frame rate. It's going to be hard to actually see anything here. Alright, so now this is in super slow-mo. And you can still sort of see it tracking. This is obviously right. I have to stitch together some other clips, and this is going to be more interesting during the day when the camera can actually see anything. But right, I know, I just remain fascinated, and you just see a lot of stuff on the internet, or at least I do. And this is obviously just more stuff on the internet, but. And again, you know, that's just sort of the bargain that you make with anything you you open your mind to. Is I'm trying to zoom in here. Trying to get to know all this different software. And it's just saying, this is just obviously clouds passing in front of it, but to see the pulsing of the, obviously this big halo, that's a bunch of noise from the camera. And if we, you know, if there's something interesting, obviously I also want to try, there's some good tools here. Just messing with the colors. Seeing if there's anything interesting. I mean, it is kind of beautiful no matter what, because it's all nature, you know. It's whatever our actual world is made up out of, then, you know, at least it's beautiful, and that can be appreciated in some sense. Alright, so those are just my observations, and you know, we're gonna try. I'm gonna keep it to half an hour, because literally I gotta just stay on task. But the other thing that I'll definitely be getting into is symbolism, because I think, I know that symbols have meaning. I know that they have power, and that they're everywhere. Basically, they're all over the place. And if you know how to harness them properly, you can really, really affect people with them, especially when they don't know what they mean. I mean, even when you know what they mean and how they work, you still get affected by them. But at least you have a bit of a you know, you get your guard up a little bit, so you can, so they won't. I feel like if you notice it consciously, basically, then it's a lot harder to just get it, you know, that deeply affected, because it really has to hit your subconscious for it to have the deepest effect. So once you start to notice things, you know, it'll be different, basically, because that's how it went for me. I was, you know, I'm a product of this whole culture. I've been swallowing it my entire life, basically. So I'll be the first one to admit, you know, this culture is beautiful. I love America. I love the America. It's a great country. There's a lot of great people in it, and there just seems to be a lot of external things coming, you know, not from and that's the trouble. These external things end up affecting everybody's emotions, but it seems like there's just a lot of external things coming from politics, from mainstream, everything. You know, even from the non-mainstream, from the YouTube, it's all just fear porn, right? The government's gonna collapse. Right, we got an impeachment coming. Brexit isn't gonna work out. The EU's gonna fall apart. It's just the recession's coming. The stock market is obviously in free fall. You know, China's on its way up, and everything is just basically falling apart. This whole country is over. And there's just been so much, especially here on YouTube, animosity and research been put into the horrible things that America's done. And again, right, that's it's hard to know what's true. At least my thing is, if you start to see stuff over and over again from multiple sources, from different people that didn't seem to know each other at all. I don't know, when you hear stuff over and over again, there has to be something to it, because either it's real or, it's just another symbol, or it's driving some sort of power. We'll get into it, but this is from the end of an acid video, and this is their symbol, right? So I think this is a really interesting. So this is already a pretty complex one I want to get into. Right, let's just flash some hexagons real quick. Right, I'm gonna get deep into these hexagons, because the hexagons, I don't know, they're everywhere. This is a frame from Blind Spot, but you will see these. You will, if you open your eyes to them, you'll start seeing these hexagons all over the place, and we'll just got to keep talking about what the meaning is and the power that they have. I'm afraid we're out of time. I'm gonna have to get out of here, but we shall continue this tomorrow. At least that's the plan. At least that is the plan.